So cute and nice and fluffy. It was not. The tears were there. There were plenty. Thanks for asking. Made me so physically unwell. I was crying non-stop. Ugh, don't cry, don't cry. My eyes were so swollen. Read them. Autumn is a girl. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here, which you probably are. Today we have a very fun video, and when I mean fun, I mean sad. I've been thinking about doing this video for a while now, and I'm so happy to be doing it today. I don't know about you, but sometimes I want to read more than just a fluffy romance. Sometimes I want a book that's gonna hit hard, that's gonna make me emotional, that's gonna make me feel everything. Now you must be wondering, why would you do that? Well, because I love pain, obviously. But also and mostly because I think there is beauty to be found into sad things, and because those books are not just books to cry or just sad books. They have harder topics, yes, and sometimes they can make you cry, but these are also amazing books with sometimes amazing romances or beautifully crafted stories, and they deserve to be recommended and talked about. So I decided to make a list of 14 books, romance books, that are gonna make you cry or at least have a little tear in your eye. I'm only recommending books that I read and liked. If you don't hear about a special book that you like, let it in the comments. Tell me everything about these books. Maybe I'm gonna do a part 2 one day of this video if I have enough recommendations, because for now I don't have any more sad books to recommend. If you don't hear the book that you like, it's maybe that I haven't read it yet or that I don't like it. Also, another disclaimer. These books are not gonna be for everyone. If you're here for a fluffy romance, this is not the book list for you. These books are gonna be emotional. Check up your trigger warnings before going into them, because there is a good chunk of everything. There is TV, essay, trauma, death, grief, loss of a loved one, sickness, whatever you want, it will be in those books. So please put your mental health first and only pick those books at the right timing for you. I decided to divide this list of books into 3 categories, from light cry to heart sobbing. If you're more interested in one or the other, you can have your pick in all these books. First category is, I'm not crying, it's just a thing in my eye. Just to be clear, there will not be Javi Jimenez or Emily Henry's books into this category because they are not sad enough. I love them, but they won't be there. The books in this category are mostly very touching and emotional romances. They're not gonna make you cry that hard. I cried reading them, but it's because I'm a crier. I cry when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm angry, when I'm tired. I even cry when I find the music beautiful in an advertisement for a car. And I don't like cars. They are the perfect entry points if you want to start a book that's gonna make you feel a little bit more than a simple romance, but still keep you away from hard sobs that can happen later on in this list. Second category is, okay, now I'm crying. These books, they're gonna break your heart, but they're gonna put it back together at the end. They all have happy endings, so even if the road is hard, you're gonna be happy at the end. Which leads me to the third and final category, I Can't Stop Sobbing. These books are not for the faint of hearts. Prepare a box of tissue and a day that you can spend literally crying nonstop. These books do not have happy endings. They're gonna break your heart, period. But these books are also phenomenal. I love them. They are beautifully written and they deserve to be read. That's why I want to recommend them and I want to talk about them, even if they made me physically unwell. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I love this book. This is the perfect entry point into emotional, sad books because it is first and foremost an amazing romance. Macy's dad just bought a house by the lake, and Macy, when she's very young, meets this guy that lives next door. His name is Elliot. It's a dual timeline. You see them when they are growing up with all this yearning and angst and just them slowly falling in love. The burn is slow with this one, which I love. One of my favorite tropes. So this is childhood best friend to lover, slow burn. And then there is also a second chance trope because we see them when they are younger in one timeline, but then in the present, Macy and Elliot haven't seen or talked to each other in 5 years. We don't know what, but something happened, and then one day they bump into each other at a coffee shop, and then everything develops from there. This book, I love it. I love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorites. Romance, 5-6 stars. If you have to remember anything about this list, read it because it's that good. Just pick it up. Next up, we have 7 Days in June by Miss Tia Williams. In this story, the FMC and the MMC meet when they are very young. They both come from really troubled families and they spend 1 week together when they are 18 or 17 and they fall in love. But then something happens. We don't know what. They don't talk or see each other for 15 years. But during this 15 years, they became authors who wrote books about each other, writing secret messages in them. It's so good. It's so good. This is an amazingly complex, beautiful romance. This is a melancholic story, but it is so well done, so romantic. The swooning and the yearning, amazing book. Also an amazing entry point into more emotional books. Next up, we have A Love Letter to Whiskey. I love this book. I love this book so much. This is written by Candy Steiner, by the way. I'm not even giving you all the infos. This book, you have to buy the 5th anniversary edition with this beautiful white cover, because if you buy the other one, I'm gonna explain later on why, but don't, because you're gonna suffer reading this book. Let me just tell you that. You're gonna suffer. But my god, this is an amazing book. I love this book. This is a 6 stars. I think I said I love it too much now. This is about Jamie and B. They meet each other at high school. B right away has a crush on Jamie, but he gets with her best friend. So even though there is a clear connection between them, the sparks are flying, you can feel this tension and this connection between them, nothing happens. This story is a story of wrong person, right person, wrong time. Again and again. Like it's non-stop. But for some reason, Candy Steiner made it work. There are a lot of tropes that I don't like the cheating trope, not with each other, miscommunications at times, but it works. It just works. You see these two characters that have a toxic, beautiful love for each other, and they keep wanting to be together, but all the time something happens and they hurt each other. Some moments in these, I sobbed because the emotions were so strong. They love each other. You can feel it through the pages. You can feel their love and how much they are hurt by it, but they can't stop. I love this book. Please read it and read this edition, because the beautiful one with the woman, let me explain. Candy Steiner published the first part of this book and everyone told her, I hate the ending, because the ending stops after so much of suffering. The happy ending is like this long. But if you buy this one, you have Jamie's point of view and you have so much more information. It's so rewarding. You really need it to enjoy this book to its all potential, and it deserves to be loved. Just pick it up. Last but not least, we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is the saddest book in this category by far. The FMC and the MMC are both really traumatized character, but so sweet. Bree has survived a terrible assault which took her father's life. She just can't get over her trauma. She decides to just go live in a small town, take a waitress gig in this town where nobody knows her. And there she meets the people, and she also meets the Times Hermit, very handsome guy, of course, that nobody talks to, and that talks to no one because he's mute. And his name is Archer. Archer, such a pure MMC. So much trauma in that man. Those two character stories are really heartbreaking. But oh my god, the way they find each other, the way she slowly makes him open up to her, the way she knows also how to talk to him and understand him. This story is beautiful. You see those two characters really fight to get over the trauma, but also learn how to live again for the other, but also for themselves. And this is such a beautiful message to convey. An amazing read. I won't stop recommending it. Now we enter the room of the second category. Now I am crying. First up in this category, we have Say You Swear by Miss Megan Brandy. And I will put it here, somewhere here. This book I read quite recently, and oh my god, I did not expect it to be that emotional and to be so moving. I thought I was gonna read a book that's gonna make me kick my feet and giggle, and it was for the 51st%. And then it broke my heart, but it put it back together at the end, and that's all that I asked for. This book, we follow... I'm so bad with names. That's terrible. You see, like Darius in Zodiac Academy is always forgetting names. And every time somebody says his name, but it's not a very important character, is like, oh yeah, Dick. And the real guy's name is like Daryl or Dan. But he's always gonna say a name that is everything else except the real name. Well, that's me. Except that I just forget about names. So, Say You Swear. Harry, our FMC, and her twin and their group of friends go one last time to their summer house vacation. And Harry has been in love with a twin's best friend since she met him. But nothing happened before that summer where everything changes. But that same summer, before they go to college all together, she also met one guy. And this guy name is Noah Riley. Noah. This guy, straight up husband material. I wrote a review for this book on Goodreads that just say it all. So I'm gonna read it. Please hold. So I wrote, this book was everything I love in a contemporary romance. I giggled and kicked my feet, then I cried and felt devastated, and the ending made me whole again. So many quotes will stay forever with me. Ari, our incredible FMC, I adored her personality and she felt so relatable. That's true. I love her. She's an amazing character to follow. I love when you feel how much two characters are made for each other, and Megan Brandy, you did it to perfection. This is exactly how I feel about this book. The way the characters come together, understand and complement each other, it's beautiful. And I think sometimes this is something that is missing in romance books when I don't see why characters should be together. That is not the case in this book. And there is a trope. I'm not gonna say it because it will be a spoiler, but there is a trope in this book that I don't especially like usually, but it was done so well. So well. This book is amazing. Really pick it up. It's an amazing read. And it is a perfect entry point into the second category. Now, we have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, this book will be a popular or unpopular opinion depending on who you're talking to. This is the only book that I read from her, so I don't have an opinion except that I love this book. Now, I have to say right away, there are no trigger warnings at the beginning of this book. I went in completely blind. And oh my god, I was shocked. I expected a fluffy romance. This is not a romance. Let me tell you this right now. This is not a romance. If you want a romance, there is a second book written after this. It Starts With Us, and this one is a romance. There is a little bit of romance as a subplot, but it's essentially a story about DV. You see Lily she's a young girl and she lives in a household with DV, and then you have the present where the story keeps repeating itself. This is a story about a woman trying to break the cycle of violence and making better choices and choosing life. And it is such an important topic that should be talked about more and always. In the past timeline, you follow Lily when she's a young girl. One day she sees that a homeless boy, is living in the abandoned house next to hers. She decides to help him, and his name is Atlas. In the present, Lily meets a new guy whose name is Ryle. She starts to have a romance with him, but then Atlas comes back into the picture. I'm not gonna say more than that, but just know this is about DV, and this is important to say it because this relationship that is the center of the book is one of violence. This is just one of many representations of DV, and I think it's important to keep talking about it. This book made me cry so much, the ending especially. The message it conveys is beautiful and important and so empowering for women. That's just my opinion. Pick it up if you're interested in this book. I highly recommend it. Next up, The Last Summer of You and Me by Anne Brashers. Brashers? Let's see.
Toucher les clients à haut potentiel sur tout le...
Brashers? I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not good at this pronunciation thing, apparently. So The Last Summer of You and Me is by the author that wrote The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants that I read when I was very young. I don't remember it at all. This is an adult book from the same author. This is one of the oldest sad romance books that I picked up in my life. And when I read it for the first time, I remember being so shocked, but also loving this kind of melancholic, sad love story. I will always recommend this book for that and many reasons. It follows Alice, Riley, and Paul. They are childhood friends. They have neighboring summer houses on an island, beach house, friends to lovers. You'll see that it's a common pattern with me. I'm always frothing at the mouth when there is a summer house and childhood friends to lovers. Like this is my comfort food. And so nothing happens between Paul and Alice and Riley for 21 years. And then 1 year, everything changes for the three of them in different ways. The yearning, the angst in this book, the miscommunication. This is like Love Letter to Whiskey. This is the same feeling of sometimes you want to go into the book and like strangle the character and be like, please wake up, just talk to each other. But in this book, it is done as well as it is in Love Letter to Whiskey. You love to hate them, but most of all, you want to hug them. This book made me so emotional. I still think about it to this day. It's such a beautiful read. It's a beautiful romance, but there is also so much more to that. There is also a lot of talk about family, the love that you have for your loved ones, and I love this book. Okay, we're doing well. Next up, we have my favorite dark romance of all times. For now, this is my favorite dark romance book ever. Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This book is so beautiful, so emotional. It is dark. Please search up your trigger warnings for each one of this book, but this one, yeah. At the beginning of this books, we have Cora and Dean. Dean is gonna marry Cora's sister in a matter of weeks. And they don't like each other very much. But one night, she goes out, but she doesn't know how to come home. She decides, as a last resort, to call Dean to go and pick her up. And he tries to do that, but they get kidnapped and they are kept in a basement together. This is not a light-hearted story. You're not gonna laugh very much in this book, but there are so many beautiful quotes in this. The first part of this book is horrifying and the other part is heartbreaking. But I promise you, the ending is so rewarding. The way Dean loves her, the relationship that they create through this traumatic experience and all the consequences that it has on their life, on their feelings for each other. Words. I love this book so much. This is just a beautiful story, beautifully written. It tugs perfectly at your heartstrings, and it's exactly what I want. This is just a perfect dark romance for me. If you're a dark romance girly and you haven't read this book yet, well, what are you waiting for? The next and final into the second category, The Boys of Tommen. So we have the first duet and then the second duet. Each duet follows a different couple. The first one is, this is not the first one. This is the first one with Shannon and Joey. No. With Shannon and Johnny, and then this is Aoife and Joey. Shannon and Joey are brothers and sisters, so that would be a different kind of story. These books, they are said to be YA in the US. Let me tell you right away, these books are not YA. They have really, really hard topics of abuse, of DV. They are not for the faint of hearts, but if you want a contemporary romance that's so much more than just a romance, that has found family, beautiful relationship that develops over time, complicated characters, this is the perfect story for you. It feels so relatable. In the first book, we have Shannon, really heavily bullied in her high school. So after one particular incident, her mother decides to change her of school and put her into a private college. On her first day, a rugby player knocks her on the ground with a ball and she has to go to the infirmary. Everything develops from there. The rugby player in question is Johnny, and he gets directly obsessed with this girl. He finds her mysterious, and we slowly learn about Shannon's troubled family, what's really going on at her home with her parents and her brothers and sisters. It's a hard topic, it's a hard story, but it's such a beautiful one. So well done. You're gonna love the characters, and so many beautiful quotes and moments are in these books. I love this first duet. It's the easiest one because then you go into the darker duet, Finding and Redeeming 6. Now, buckle up for these ones because they are not easy, but somehow I love them even more. I find the relationship between Aoife and Joey absolutely incredible. Joey is such a destroyed character, but you can't help but loving him, and he suffers so much. You just want to go through the book and hug him and tell him that everything is gonna be okay. And everything is not okay for quite some time. But Aoife, this woman is so strong. The way she loves him, the way she's always there for him, the way she fights for the love and for his life. This, especially the second one, is gonna put you through it. At some points, I had to put the book down because it was too much. It was too hard. But then the ending for both of this duet is so rewarding. Just pick up these books if you haven't had. They're quite popular, but if you never read them before, just read them and make yourself your own opinion about them because they deserve the read. They are amazing. And that's all I have to say. Read them or else. So they're here. Whew. Okay, we're finally entering the third and final category. I can't stop sobbing. If you're still with me and you really want to read this book, do it at your own risk. These books are amazing, but remember, no happy endings, bittersweet endings at best. They're just gonna be heartbreaking. First up, we have... The first one is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just look at Goodreads because I'm so bad at this. Goodreads is so slow. I don't know who developed this app, but I'm sure they can do a better job. Put the like if you think so. So, the first step in this category is If He Had Been With Me. This is the first book of the duet. And then If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nolwenn. Now, you must be thinking, why would I read a duet called like that? Why would I do that to myself? Well, because I think those two books work so well together. As the title says, something happens to one of the characters. We follow Autumn and Finn, mostly Autumn actually in the first book. She was best friend with Finn for most of her life. Their moms were best friends when they were younger. Finn and Autumn grew up together. They were inseparable until one day they weren't, and we don't know exactly why. At the beginning of this book, she enters into high school. It's a very slice of life book because you just follow her going through adolescence, trying so hard to be so different to other girls that she ends up being just like any other girl. She's a teenager and sometimes she can be really annoying, but it's okay because she's a teenager and she feels really relatable. Laura Nolwenn writes so well about those kind of relatable moments that you live when you're a teenager. During the book, you have crumbs of her talking to Finn, slowly admitting to herself the feelings that she has for him and getting closer, but it's so slow. Such a slow burn. At some points, I was like, please, give me more and faster, because you know that at the end of this book, something's gonna happen. And you're like, okay, time's ticking. She has a boyfriend for way too long in this book. I was like, dump him, girl. It's time to go. But when it gets you good. Finn is such a sweet boy. I love this story. I thought it was truly heartbreaking. And the ending of the first book, hard. It's something that I didn't like about it at first, and at the same times it felt right for the subject, but it was too harsh for me. If It Had Been With Me is essentially a story of what if, and this is such a heartbreaking theme. It's not for everyone. Apparently the author realized like years later that she wanted to say more from Finn's point of view. She wrote the second book of the duet, If Only I Had Told Her. You get Finn's point of view that I really loved, and then his best friend and another author point of view, and this book deals with all the consequences of what happened at the end of the first book. And I have to say that the first book, I didn't cry so much, I was just like depressed. But I didn't cry also because I read it just after another book that I'm gonna be talking about in this category, and I just didn't have any tears left in my body to cry. I don't even know how it is possible, because I always feel like I have an endless supply of water in my body to cry at any time, but not that time. But then when I read the second book, the tears were there, and there were plenty. Thanks for asking. I love the second book because I think it wraps up the story not like a beautiful bow, because it stays a sad and heartbreaking story, but it's still better. And the way grief is described in this second book, the writing is beautiful. It was so well done. If you want to read a beautiful duet that's gonna make you depressed, then here goes. Pick this book up. Next up, we have Second Chance Summer with
Je ne sais pas comment vous aider.
Alexa is talking to me. It's not the first time. Whew, okay. Second Chance Summer by Morgan Madison. Another one of these books when I was like, oh, summer house, maybe a childhood friend to lover story. Oh, this beautiful cover. It seems so cute and nice and fluffy. It was not. Let me tell you right now, right at the beginning, this is not a spoiler, we learned that her dad, Riley's dad, or FMC, has stage 4 cancer. Yeah, now you must be thinking, well, why did you continue reading after learning that? Well, because I was there, so, you know, just keep going at this point. Essentially, Riley and her family goes back to their summer house by the lake. They haven't been there for 5 years. She had a boyfriend and a best friend at the time there, but she hasn't talked to them in 5 years because something happened, and we don't know what. It is a story of her trying to find herself. This is not just a story about sickness. Of course, her dad's sickness is really important to the story, but it is first and foremost a second chance book. A second chance for Riley to become close again with her ex-best friend and her ex-boyfriend, but also for this family that was really, you know, not close before going to the house, to get close again and learn to love each other again. This story is such a beautiful story, heartwarming. It's really slice of life. You just follow them as the summer goes on, and you have such beautiful moments between her and her friends, her and her brother and mother, and her dad especially. And this story broke me open. I don't know, there is something about sickness. Don't cry, don't cry. There is something about sickness with a parent. It always gets me. And oh my god, this story, don't cry. Phew. This story feels so real, so relatable. I cried, sobbed for days just thinking about it. The whole day, I was a sobbing mess. Even now, thinking about it, I want to cry. This book hurt me so much, but at the same time, it was beautifully written. Morgan Madison did such a good job making those characters real, imperfect, relatable, and this story just works. It's not for everyone. If you want to read a story about cancer, this is the perfect book. Just know that personally, I won't ever pick up and read this book again because I can't. I just can't. No, sir, I won't do this to myself again. But I love it. It deserves all the love in the world. Next up, we have the book that I read just before If You Had Been With Me. Listen, I picked up this book because I was thinking of this list video and I was like, oh, I don't have enough books for this category, so I'm gonna pick this book. I read everywhere that it was extremely sad, but I don't know why it didn't register in my brain, and so I decided to pick it up. This book made me so physically unwell. I never cried that much in my life reading a book. It was a free serving crying menu. The beginning started really cute, and then there is a sad thing at the beginning, so I started to cry a little bit there, and then there is something a bit more sad that happens and I cried a little bit more, and by the 50% I was crying non-stop. Listen, at some point, I was sobbing so hard at every sentence that I was reading that I started crying for every bad stuff that ever happened in my life. My eyes were so swollen that I couldn't see properly. Like, my boyfriend asked me if someone had died when he saw me because this book... I'm gonna say now which book it is. Thousand Boys Kisses by Miss Tilly Cole. This book is about Poppy and Rune. Rune is a Scandinavian boy at the beginning of the book, and he and his family comes to live in the US and he's really mad about it. But then he meets Poppy, the girls next door, and they become fast friends. We see them fall in love at the beginning of the book and it's very cute. And then when they are 16 or 17, he has to go back to Scandinavia with his dad because his dad's job has changed. He has been with Poppy all this time. They decide to stay together, but then after a few months, Poppy stops answering his texts, his messages, his phone calls. She just ghosts him and he doesn't understand why. So when he goes back to the US a few years afterwards, we learn why. This story put me down. Oh my god, if you want to cry a whole day, really bring out the empty buckets. You can water your plants afterwards with this one because, I'm never gonna pick this book again. I love it. It was a beautiful message. It will stay with me till the end of my life, but it scarred me. It scarred me. It's weird because when I was reading it, I was like, sometimes the characters don't feel real, but then at the same time, it just worked. There is something about this book that made it just click. And there is another book written by the same author that is about the sister of one of the characters. I thought about reading it for this list and I was like, you know what? No. I was just not up for it. At this point, I was hurt too badly and people said you were crying just as much as in the first book, so I was like, I have to cut the losses. But this is an amazing book. This is an amazing book with a beautiful message. Poppy and Rune, their love is so representative of the strength for first love. I don't know what was in that book to make it that every sentence felt like a punch in the gut, but it was. I cried like non-stop reading it. But if you're ready for this, if you want like a true purging cry, then read this book. I highly recommend it still. It's an amazing read. Okay, we finally arrived to the end destination of this list video with the last recommendation that I have for you. The Torment duet. If you know, you know. This is a story about grooming. Let me tell you right away, this is not a romance. There is a romance subplot, but this is not the important relationship in these books. You follow Mina and Shane. Mina in the first book is very young. This is a dual timeline. We follow her when she's 7 or 8 in the first timeline, and then when she's 16. In the timeline where she's 16, she's in the hospital because some terrible assault happened. In the past timeline, we unravel a bit what has happened to her ever since she was 8, when she was first introduced to her mother's best friend and his son. They are both bikers belonging to a MC club, and when she's young, Mina is such a ray of sunshine, such a sweet kid. Through the years, Shane gets very possessive of her. He's quite older than her. I think it's 6 or 7 years. You read this as an adult, but it's really written as if she was her age. She doesn't get everything. She doesn't understand. Not everything is as it seems. It's such a bingeable, well-written story. You slowly discover that Shane, the stepbrother, doesn't have the best interest for her and is interested in her in more than a brotherly type. The first book is very dark already, but it gets harder and darker in this one. Please search up your trigger warnings. This is dark. So dark. But it is also such a good Duet, such a good read. I loved it. I read it just after Onyx Storm, and I really thought that I was gonna be slumpy for a long time. But I picked this up and it unslumped me. I don't know if that's correct. It got me out of my slump. It was that good. It's so bingeable. You want to know what's gonna happen next. Mina is an amazing character to follow, and Shane is a character that is so complex, so traumatized, so destroyed. You hate him, but you love him as well. You get gaslighted as Mina is gaslighted. You feel everything. She loves him, she hates him. You follow Mina as she tries to get out of this situation. She always wants to be more than just a MC wife. You see her try to get out from under her stepbrother's thumb. You love Mina so much, and you can't help but love Shane as well, even though he's a terrible character. And the ending of this duet, whew, I sobbed so much, but at the same time, it was the perfect ending for this story. The author's note at the end is a perfect description of what the ending is. I understand that many will be upset with me over this ending. I know there are some questions left unanswered. I know some things I'm sure you wish I'd included in this book. But here's the thing. In life, we don't always get the answers to questions. And it's a perfect way of describing this. This is a bittersweet ending, but it hurts. It hurts very, very much. They're gonna make you unwell, and at some points you're gonna want to put this book down. They get hard to read, but it is an important story, and I think the grooming representation was done perfectly. The writing, chef's kiss. Whew. That's done. We reached the end of this video. Thank you so much if you watched it from beginning to end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Put comments down below if you read these books, if you like them, or maybe if you have books to recommend to me that maybe are not in this list but would be a great fit into it. And I would gladly, as I said, make a part 2. I always love emotional books, so please send them to me and I would be so happy. I hope you liked this video. I hope you found something interesting in this list. That's it. Go have a good emotional book and see you next time. I love you.